Hey, it's Pete, and welcome back. If your goal is to become a full-time professional day trader, you probably gathered everything you could imagine, probably watched 1,000 YouTube videos, and you have a lot of information. But at this point, you're probably finding out that more information, more knowledge is not the answer. And what we're going to do today is I'm going to organize for you all of the steps that I use and what my community uses from start to finish, from developing an edge all the way down to how to use artificial intelligence to refine that edge and get the answers that you want 24/7. So I'm about to walk you through a complete process that makes it repeatable. And I think all of us, especially after you've been day trading any amount of time, you find that it can seem like there's a lot to do. But once you understand how to put all the pieces together, then it really just comes down to implementing and getting better at implementing. So without further ado, let's get right into it. I'm going to introduce you to my system, which is a complete professional day trading system from start to finish. In just a second, I'm going to explain what I mean by professional, right? Okay, so what are the main problems when most of us start day trading, and what is the ultimate goal, right? For most people, price action seems like chaos. It seems like there's so many different parts and you just can't really understand why is that happening? Why is that happening? And how do I turn that into a high probability trade? Next, your results are random, very specifically because price action seems like chaos. And number three, your emotions are likely a mess if your results are random and price action seems chaotic. And we're going to boil all this down for you. I'm going to walk you through. I'm going to give you everything today. But the goal for most people, especially after you've been trying it for a while, and let's say a while, anything more than 6 months, anything less than 6 months, you're still just kind of getting your feet wet. But for most people, you want consistency. And if I could just really kind of drill this home even a little bit more, the first thing is consistency with which you look at your edge. And when we define an edge, we're basically saying that something is likely to happen more often than not. Now, there's a mindset part of that, especially for day traders, because there's so many ideas that we could potentially look at, is when we define an edge and have that definition of it happens most of the time, sometimes it doesn't. What that immediately does, if we actually believe that, which is the only reason we put a trade on first, is because we believe we have an edge. By the very definition, that means that we're going to have some losing trades. So let's just get that clear. Let's get that out of the way, that we are not focused on trying to win on every trade. We are trying to flawlessly execute our edge. And then over a larger sample size of trades, we have predictable positive results if we keep our losses small, or I should say we keep our losses manageable to what we chose to accept when we put the trade on in relation to the likely profit that we could make on the trade. Now, I'm going to walk you through some of the steps of how do we get to the point where we have likely profits. And then I'm going to walk you through the steps with how to increase your profits without increasing your risk. So that, I know it's a lot, but I'm going to hit you with it in rapid fire. You could pause the video, take notes, all those kinds of things. And by the way, if this kind of stuff, if the structure that I'm about to teach you, and obviously a little bit of coaching right here, if you find it exciting and you want to take it a step further, just click that link below the video. I'd love to see you in the community, and I'll show you how you can actually ask me questions personally every single week. All right. So let's get into more of the process, right? So the goal is consistency. Now, before we move forward and actually get into the stuff, I want to be clear about this. Everything we're about to talk about is for educational purposes only. It's up to you to make the final decision. It's my mission to help you make better decisions, okay? So let's get that clear right out of the gate. Who am I? Why should I talk about this? Those kinds of things. My name is Pete Renzulli. I've been trading full-time for 25 years. I own Keystone Trading Group in New York City. We were on 34th and 7th in New York. We had 300 traders globally at one time, and today I'm the founder and Chief Strategic Officer of Stock Trading Pro. And what you're going to learn right now in today's training is everything that we do in Stock Trading Pro. All right. So now one of the biggest things I want to talk about, and if I could just go back to that previous slide here, the Keystone Trading Group. In 2007, we actually had 25 former New York Stock Exchange specialists come off the floor and trade in my office. So we had a really beautiful combination of, I was really good at NASDAQ momentum trading, and they were really good at reading institutional order flow. And I'm going to explain what order flow is just a second. So we basically created what was known at that time as the New York method, and it became this flywheel of understanding how to make money. And it was a process. And again, if we want the consistency, there has to be some system that leads to the consistency, right? We're going to rise or fall to the level of our systems. And our job is to have a system that produces the results that we want when we're day trading. And it's especially important to have a system for day trading because there's so many different pieces of information. And I'm going to walk you through those pieces of information right now. And I promise the slideshow is going to be very short, but I want to make sure I show you where we're going in the slideshow. Okay. So we bring it back to that knowledge that I had the New York Stock Exchange specialist on my floor. We basically built this system that is kind of flawless when you execute it, but it requires you participating. And I want to be clear about that. So everything I'm about to talk about is for people who are serious about becoming a professional day trader. I want to be clear about that. So the first thing, and I'm going to walk you through all of these pieces. The first thing is starting with an edge, which means developing a method of reading the price action and the news and the volume in a way that you can tell with a strong confidence that something is likely to happen over the other, right? Next, we do research based on our edge. So we kind of put all the pieces together from the edge into a research process to say, okay, how are we going to be looking at the day as it's unfolding, right? From the research, then we get into implementation. So there's two different stages of implementation. There is your implementation from the research, from the edge, and then there's my implementation and people in the community and their implementation. I'm going to show you what that looks like in just a second as well. After you trade, then you want to get some feedback so that you can improve. And the most significant part of the feedback is you want that feedback to be weekly. And in our community, as I'm about to show you, we actually have two different coaching sessions throughout the week that are very specific to your improvement. One of them is any question you want to ask, and the other session is based on topics that the community vote on based on what they want to learn at that particular moment. And then obviously we take advantage of artificial intelligence, combining all of those pieces together. All right. So the very first part of it is an edge, having a repeatable way to define high probability trades. We're going to talk about that. I'm going to walk you through my entire course today. Research, a repeatable way to prepare. And one thing you're going to find here that you're going to really kind of see me drilling into with consistency is repeatable. Repeatable edge, repeatable implementation of that edge, a repeatable way to get feedback, and then start the cycle over again with a higher level of understanding. And again, I can't emphasize enough the preparation leading into the day, even for day traders, matters. It matters because it limits your attention to only the best ideas. And then I'm also going to show you how to not only have your attention focused on a particular strategy, but then how to have the software give you the best ideas in real time. Okay. After the research, then we have execution, and community. So it's really execution, example, and community. So it's basically our executions that we pay attention from you. Then we have the executions of the trades that we call out. And I'm going to show you what that means in just a minute. And then we're going to actually get into the community collaboration. Now, I want to be clear about something as we kind of progress here. From the very first day that I opened up Stock Trading Pro and our online community, it's very specific to being a community. There's some, first of all, it's a replication of my trading floor in New York City in the sense that we are collaborative. That's really, really important. And it's not a chat room. I want to be very specific about that. We have very deliberate places inside of the community where part of it is for trading and having conversations of what you're looking at and getting some insights on the way you're looking at the market, the stocks, the sectors, the industry groups, trade management, those kinds of things. And then there's another section where we very specifically call out ideas that we see. So you're actually going to see us with the implementation of the strategy. So really, if you could have in your mind, the community itself is the real-time unfolding of the strategy in a collaborative way where we work together. It's very, very important. So it's not a chat room. It's an online trading floor where there's collaboration of, am I implementing the strategy correctly? And then we're providing examples of how to use the strategy, which really kind of just creates this beautiful flywheel of constantly learning how to look at things, how to see things in the right way, put them in context, and those deeper distinctions give you better ideas on position sizing, up or down, and profit expectation. And all this is happening very quickly. And I want to be clear. Some chat rooms call out thousands of trades and you can't even keep up in those kinds of things. We're more focused on trading less, but finding better ideas and letting them play themselves out. And I'm going to show you what that looks like in just a minute as well. Okay. So we have implementation. Then we have feedback and improving, which is adjusting to the results each week. And I'm going to walk you through step by step on all of these. and something very, very, very important, which is adjusting to results and each week. Now, I know I just said that, but adjusting means we're paying attention. One of the biggest mistakes that traders make is they don't pay attention to the results that they're getting, and they just stay in the same place month after month after month. And before you know it, it's a year later, and you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't have any improvement at all. I'm in the same place I was at the beginning of last year. And that's the last thing you want to do. And that's why the feedback is critically important. And each week, so you got results that were based on the actions you took. And then each week, we're going to review the actions you took to help you improve on your day trading. And then last but not least, 24/7 specific answers from artificial intelligence. And I very purposely highlighted specific there, 100%, because it's only based on our strategy. AI that we have has zero hallucinations because it just stays, it's only based on our coaching calls and our courses. So when you ask a question, it's going to only give you answers based on the way that we do things, which makes it 10 times easier to learn. Okay. So what we're going to do now is we're going to work our way through the course. So everything that we just talked about, that flywheel from developing an edge to implementation, all the way back up to doing it again because we paid attention and we're coming back to the market with some more better information and better, deeper knowledge of what we're doing. I'm going to show you exactly from start to finish how I do this every single day for the community and with the community. Okay, so we're going to head right over now into the course. So I want to walk you through the name of our course. Don't worry about the name of the course or any of that kind of stuff. This is really more about implementation of the course and the way that the education flows. So the very first thing, obviously, is it's critical to have a understanding of the knowledge of what you're talking about, right? If you're going in and just say, just give me the entry price, just tell me where to get in, that's not knowledge. That is just basically like reading one chapter of the entire book of the process, and you'll never succeed that way. There's a step-by-step process that once you understand it and wrap your head around it, I can't express this any more clearly. When you know what you're looking for, you're never lost. And that's a very powerful place to be in, especially as a day trader with all that information coming at you very quickly. You're basically going to be looking at the market and you're going to say, I know what I'm looking for. Is it there right now? And the answer is going to come back yes or no. But then there's degrees to how much is in place. And I'm going to show you what that looks like now. So when you know what perfect looks like, you can now gauge yourself above or below to say, okay, here's what perfect looks like. Should I be scaling up and holding longer? Or should I scaling back or doing nothing? Those distinctions are what allow you to be more patient as a day trader and have the right position size and expectations for profits at the right time while it's unfolding. And I'm going to show you what that looks like first in the market, and then we're actually going to come back to what the course looks like. Okay. So if we kind of zoom on over into the market, there's two different ways we look at things. So the very first thing we're going to be looking at is we start out with the bigger picture of the market. So you can see on the left-hand side, these are hourly charts, and we have VWAP on both of those charts. So we have the diamonds, the SPY, and the Qs. So the three major indices. And each hour, we want to know hour by hour what's going on with the bigger picture money, where there's a lot of heavier weighted stocks in those indices, which is kind of a big deal right now with artificial intelligence and the capital expenditures. So we always start out with the big picture. We get an answer. Is it obvious? Yes or no? Is it obvious this hour? Yes or no? Is the current hour above VWAP, volume weighted average price? Are all three of those above? Now, again, this is not analyzing. We're not pulling with boom, getting an answer right quickly because we know what we're looking at and then we know what we're looking for. Top left-hand corner, we have the VIX. In the middle, we have the ticks. In the top right, top left is advanced decline line. We have the ticks, and then we have the VIX. Top left-hand corner, advanced decline line. The whole top row is secondary indicators to what we're seeing already in price action. This is more, are we seeing validation in the broader market, what we're seeing in the individual stocks, the sectors, and industry groups? So if we're looking to be a buyer, we want the advanced decline line to be moving higher. If we want to be a buyer, we want the tick readings to be above plus 500 or stronger. Again, I actually happen to be filming this on December 26th, so the market's a little bit slower here today. And then the VIX, the volatility index, if we want to be a buyer, we want the VIX to be trending down. So let's just wrap that up again really quickly, bigger picture of the market. So I'm walking you through the power pyramid right now. What's going on in the market? What's going on in the market every hour? We're resetting the hour. Is it red or green? And where is it in relation to volume weighted average price? Are they all across the board doing the same thing? Yes or no? And that gives you another level of distinction, and another level of conviction. Top part, we're looking at the secondary indicators, advanced decline line, the New York Stock Exchange tick indicator, and the VIX. From there, once we have a broader picture of the market, then we go to individual sectors. Same exact questions. Again, I told you it's more about the structure than it is about having every single answer. You don't need every single answer. You need to know, here's what I'm looking for. Is it there? So now we have the major indices up here. And our first goal is to say, if the market is obvious, which sectors and industry groups are doing the same thing as the market? And the reason we're doing that, I want to take a step back and go back to what I talked about before about being on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange. Excuse me, when I had those guys from the floor of the New York Stock Exchange come and trade in my office. There's something called order flow. Order flow are the institutional orders that move the market. It's the true supply and demand in the market. You might call it the accumulation or distribution of large position sizes, right? And they build those positions over days, weeks, and months, right? So we go from the definition of order flow, which is institutional supply and demand. Now we go to days, weeks, and months, building those positions or distributing them. That's called order flow stacking. That's something that we created ourselves. It's something that's been a part of my community going all the way back to 2006, okay? Order flow stacking has two dimensions. The first dimension is time. How long are we spotting the footprints of the institutions? Is it days, weeks, months? Are they pushing up on good volume? Is it pausing on light volume? So the institutional activity takes time. And then the second dimension is it across sectors? Is it across industry groups? Is it focused on a particular stock? The more of those answers we have, and we just showed you how to do it, just boom, all of a sudden, I want to prove to you that this is easier than you're probably making it right now. So if we have the concept of order flow, we have the concept of order flow stacking, which basically defines our edge. We are basically saying, matter of fact, we are explicitly saying that we are not predicting anything. Day trading, we are simply paying attention to where is money flowing now? Where is order flow going now? And we simply shadow it on an hour by hour and a day by day basis until we see that order flow change. So if you can think of a pyramid where the bottom layer is the market, one layer up is the sector, one layer up is industry groups, and above that is stocks. Our job is to put as many of those layers into the argument to put a trade on, and that's going to increase or decrease our conviction in the idea. So just think about this. The more distinctions you could make in the power pyramid that I just taught you, the greater confidence you are going to have in your expectation for profits. So think about what we're saying here. We are adapting our expectations, which means we're adapting the risk we will allow ourselves to take on the trade based on how we're reading the power pyramid. So again, let's just go through it really quickly. We're looking at the market. We're looking at the market internals. Yes or no, is it obvious based on what I just said? Then we go over to the sectors and say, where is money flowing in sectors right now that's doing the same thing as the market? That's setting up the trade, okay? The next part of the trade is we then get into the actual implementation of putting the trade on, which means now we need a little bit of a filtering system. So you can see now this is a little bit of a different screen where it is relative to an individual stock. And you can actually see here in real time, one stock just popped up. Now, this is really important. When you have filtering criteria for only putting the best trade ideas out there, you will not be trading everything. Your list could be a list of 30 stocks, and you can actually see another stock just popped in there. You are only looking for stocks that meet what we call minimum viable criteria. So on the left-hand side here, we have a bigger chart here, the 5-minute chart with volume weighted average price again there. Then we have the hourly chart, the daily chart, and the weekly chart. So we're kind of working our way through the power pyramid again, that different time frame, right? Then on the top over here, we have a much bigger list of stocks that we are filtering in real time that says, okay, I understand order flow. I understand order flow stacking. I understand the power pyramid. Now I want the software to give me those ideas in real time so that I will only look to trade those ideas that meet the criteria in that exact moment as every hour unfolds. So let me teach you that one more time because it's very important. You have the process, and then you have the software that gives you the ideas that meet the process in real time. That's step number one. And I'm going to walk you through the whole course of how we do this. I'm going to show you the outline, obviously the outline of the course. It'd be too much to teach right here. So you understand how we're going in that direction. Then I'm going to walk you through how we do this in the community. Okay. So if we work our way into the course itself, I'm going to go back into here. So we start out with order flow and setting up the framework. Very, very important to understand what everything looks like. Then we get into tape reading and order types. Tape reading is basically, is stock moving closer to or further away from a significant reference point? And everybody thinks tape reading is complicated, right? They look at the ticker on the bottom, or they think back to old school ticker tapes. Tape reading, you know how to tape read already, but it's putting tape reading in the context of order flow. Now, if you think you don't know how to tape read, I'm going to prove it to you right now. Tape reading is it moving closer to or further away from a significant reference point? And we have some significant reference points that we use as day traders, and we call them minimum viable criteria. When you're in a position, you are day trading, you are tape reading because it's moving away from you or it's moving in your favor, right? So nobody knows that stock better than you. Your reference point is your entry price. Professionally done, you want to have that entry point before you get in the trade, and you want to stack those entry points and the significant reference points to learn to read the tape. Now, it sounds complicated, right? Well, is your stock positive from Monday's opening price? That's tape reading. And you start to compile more of those. You're like, yes to that one, yes to that one. Yes, I have a good idea. Sounds complicated? No, you let the software do the heavy lifting for you, as I just showed you. Okay, so let's get into a little bit more. Managing losses and position sizing for consistent gains. Again, you can see right here in the beginning of the program, we're talking about managing risk and accepting the fact that there's losses. Get away from the garbage of people. Oh, I never lose a trade. You're full of beans. As a matter of fact, it doesn't even matter if you keep your losses small and understand how to size and add to good position. Next, stock selections through the two-step scanning system. That's part in there. Day trading qualifiers, short-term order flow, which is around volume weighted average price. Then we actually have software setups. We talk about TradingView, we talk about FinViz, we talk about Thinkorswim, we talk about TradeStation. Then from there, we work our way into whatever individual software that you're using. We show you how to set it up. We show you how to reset the hour. We talk about mindset, managing your emotions during volatility. And I will tell you this, managing your emotions is 10 times easier when you have a system, all right? Next, we have mindset, risk, and discipline. Again, you can see the whole beginning part of this is about what do I look at? How do I manage my emotions? And you only need to manage your emotions. It's only a problem if you don't know what you're looking at. So let's be clear about that. The more distinctions you could make and the more you have a process, the easier it becomes to be consistent, right? Then we have strategies. We have candlestick stuff related to the course and specific entries, confirming intraday trends and timing our entries. All a part of this, right? You need to know exactly when do I get in? When is the moment of greatest reward? How to scan for minimum viable criteria. I've already showed you that. And advanced improving conviction on the daily candlesticks with VWAP and price action. So again, we want to keep improving the distinctions we could make so we could make better decisions. Then we have probability boosters. How do we increase even more the odds of a profitable trade, the odds of something moving in our favor? Well, first and foremost is understanding how to manage a trade. Most people think the trade ends when they put the trade on. That's just the beginning part of the trade. There's a whole process of managing winning trades. Then we have timing entries, timing exits, and tracking institutional movement. Remember, there's big money pushing the market around. Our job is to simply shadow that big money. We have a more in-depth lesson on the market internals, as I just showed you on my screen, the tick, the advanced decline line, and the VIX. There's more to it than I just showed you, but you got an idea there. Then we have the profit maximizer, average true range, and average daily price. There's different ways of managing volatility per price while you're managing the trade. Again, more FinViz stuff and order flow and the power pyramid, as I've kind of just given you the introduction to that today. And then the whole point of this is building an argument for the trade, which is aligning the market, the sector, the industry group, and the stock, again, to stack the reasons in your favor to believe you're going to have follow through. Okay. Next, we have profitability boosters, which are different from probability. One is increasing the probability. The second one is increasing the profitability during that same trade. Okay. Number one is trading your best setups and understanding the concept of 10 perfect trades. Now, here's a big thing I want to get across to you when it comes to being profitable and sustaining long-term love for the business. Individual trades results are random. Even in the best strategy in the world, individual trades are random, but a large sample size of trades on a good edge managed properly, the results are predictable. So when we talk about 10 perfect trades, we want you to be focused immediately on the fact that you should be focused on how you trade over 10 trades and the results of all 10 of those trades, not the individual trades. And this reduces the stress on trading tenfold. Trust me. All right. Okay. So that's the concept of 10 perfect trades. Then you need to understand position sizing, the math on risk reward, and the trade expectancy formula. What do I know I will likely make on most of my trades if I do well based on my results? Then we have accepting risk, adjusting size, and systematically adding to winners, systematic position building, just like institutions, and then implementing the profit maximizer. So hopefully, two big things. Hopefully you understand that that's a whole system, right? That's the system to look at. And number two, there is an entire section on learning profitability, which is never taught. It's so different from understanding just give me the entry. The lessons and the techniques and strategies on increasing the profitability on the same trade you're probably making now could turn a pretty good trade of $1,000 profit into $2,500 just by understanding profitability boosters. Okay, I want to be super clear about that. So that's the whole process. Now we're going to get into the steps that we said before, which is the research, the coaching, and then the AI and the community, actually. So the very first thing starts with the research, and this is the research, how I do it for everybody in the community every day. And I'm going to walk you through exactly what I provide for everybody. So we start out with, and you can see this is just recently from a couple of weeks ago. We start out where I basically overnight curate all of the significant news that's happening in the market that day, the Fed, China, exports, tariffs, AI, all the kind of things. So I can really drill down for everybody. Here's the important stuff that's going on in the market during the day. And you get this email no later than 7:30 in the morning. Then I get into analyzing the market. So now you can see I'm quickly shifting into the power pyramid. So now we're going market, sector, industry group, day trading stocks. So I do an analysis on the market. Then we break down any significant economic reports that are coming out that day that will affect the day trading universe. Then we get into any stocks that are in play that have earnings that day, and I give breakdowns on those stocks in play. Now we shift back into sector rotation. Again, you can see my personal research coming into this. I'm pinpointing the ideas that we're going to be looking at, or the strongest ideas that have order flow and optimal entries. And I'm actually giving charts of the ideas and why I like them that day. Then we break down sector by sector. Then we go deeper into industry groups. Again, we're focused on where is money already going and how we should be looking at them. And then within the day trading part of the things, I give a lesson on whatever ideas meet our criteria and how that lesson unfolds. So that's just the research. That's prior to the market. So again, going back to that flywheel, there's the edge, understanding the edge, researching what we find in the edge, and now we have the implementation part of it. So I want to show you how we actually do this in the community. So in our day trading community, we have a couple of different channels. We have day trade reviews, we have day trade alerts, and then we have the day trade conversations where you can see our members and members of the community calling out trades using the language that we have right from the course. So now it becomes a collaborative effort. Very important that you understand this is only dedicated to our strategy, and it's our strategy because we want serious people who want to learn a professional way to take money out of the market on a regular basis. So again, I just want to break this down. Day trading channel, where we are calling out ideas, observing ideas, giving reaction to everything that we just showed you on the charts and in the course, specific alerts that meet the criteria with entry signals, trade follow-up, profit maximizers, those kinds of things, and then day trade reviews as the day unfolds. So that's the implementation where we're showing you what we're doing. We're a shining example of the strategy. You're implementing the strategy, and we're giving you insights based on your call out so that you can improve. Okay. So that's edge, research, implementation. The next part of it is coaching. So each coaching session, we have two coaching sessions, one on Monday night and one on Thursday. The Monday night session is dedicated to your questions. You have the ability to post your questions. Here's what I have a hard time right now. I don't understand this, or this happened in the market, or can you teach this topic a little bit deeper? And then I'll go into it myself personally. And those sessions usually last anywhere from 45 minutes to 90 minutes, depending on the topics and the depth of the topics. Once the call is done, we provide a recap of all summaries of all the key topics that were discussed during that call. You can see there's a pretty big one. Then we have mentoring notes for each one of those lessons, and there's a complete archive of the video as well. So if we kind of zoom back out to the Thursday sessions, you can see that there's an archive of every Monday night session. So those are the open floor, so to speak, Q&A. You post those questions either live or before, and you can see the summary. So you now have a whole library of just the best of the best questions to keep, again, improving and getting feedback. Then on Thursday, we have what's known as our trading lesson sessions. Now, this is where we get direct feedback from you. Inside of our Discord community, we basically place 5 topics, and we have the community vote on what they want to learn that coming week. So those topics are then voted on, and we prepare a presentation around that topic for you. And you can see here, we have key topics from that, basically from what you chose you wanted to learn that week. We have notable quotes, and then we have the replay, which you can see here. This one was 55 minutes, and we have a complete archive of that as well. So again, working our way through the flywheel. If we can pull up that flywheel again and have it over here, I just want to give you the visualization. We have the course, which is the edge. We work our way into the research. We implement together. We get feedback on Monday and Thursday with the archives and the summaries and the replay video. And then we work our way into AI coaching. Now, this is a really important one because a lot of people are, let's face it, shy, and they don't necessarily want to ask something all the time until they feel a little bit more confident. So you can actually see here, we have over, I believe there's over 400 or 500 questions here that we have curated from over 80 hours of course. And once we activate the AI, we basically now have the ability where the AI goes in, you copy and paste the question in there, 24/7, this is available. It gives you the complete answer of something that you need right away. And not only does it give you the answer, but then it also takes you down to the exact spot in the video where that can be found. So it's a really, honestly, beautiful system of learn and improve. And the community is a big part of that. The community is like one big hive mind looking at the same thing, which basically amplifies everything that we can learn together. So that's the process from start to finish, including how my software is set up, including what you learn, including how you can learn more week by week with good feedback. And then obviously the implementation part of it in the community is probably one of the most valuable parts of it, because that's actually the shining live examples of the strategy actually unfolding in real time, the way we're doing it, the way we're seeing it, how we're seeing the best opportunities on a moment by moment basis, and your ability to call out ideas to get insights in real time. So you have the context of the idea in that moment. All right. So that's everything from start to finish. And I like to do this video heading into the next year because everybody has goals, but accomplishing that goal, sometimes it needs a system to make it happen. So if you found this stuff exciting, if you like the structure, the systematic way that we do everything, I'd love to see you on the other side. Click that link below in the description and take advantage of that very special opportunity to come and join me for the next 12 months. If you have any follow-up questions, leave those below the video too in the comment section. I'll get back to you. And there's also, you can reach out to our support team, that access in the description as well. All right. Have an awesome day. I'll speak to you soon.